frequency machines like 100 years ago that were hidden from society because they were so beneficial. We should have, what annoys me the most is that we should have known about this many years ago. The world, like, if there's one thing that just makes me like so angry, it's that there's so much knowledge out there that is not shared. It's hidden, it's suppressed.
Hello, everybody in Liberating Humanity. It is Maggie Reeder here. I am super excited to be with you here for another live interview with the incomparable Zach Dean. Hi, Zach. How you doing?
Hi. Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
Okay, so let me introduce Zach formally because he has a very impressive bio. So Zach is a certified health coach from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition in 2013. He's worked with Vitamix blenders, making whole food recipes for thousands of people. He has been a live television presenter, a YouTuber with 12,000 followers and subscribers around holistic wellness. And he's been in the social selling network marketing space for 6 years and is a six-figure income earner in that space. And his vision, this is where you want to really listen to Zach, because his vision is to create the healthiest and wealthiest people on the planet. So welcome, Zach. It is such an honor and a pleasure to have you here tonight. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. Very well. Excited to be here and share whatever nuggets of wisdom I can with everyone at home.
Absolutely. So we are talking all things frequencies tonight, and the developments that we have seen in the last couple of years, and in actual fact, what I have kind of, I've gotten to know you just over the last 4 months because of something we're both involved into with frequencies. And this has completely blown my mind and got me so excited about the future for humanity and where we're headed at the moment, and just the trajectory that is possible with the momentum that we are seeing in the space of frequencies. So tell me a little bit about what got you so interested in frequency therapy.
So thank you for the beautiful introduction. And yeah, I've been in health and wellness for quite some time. I grew up with my mother's a naturopath. My first stepdad was a yoga teacher, and second stepdad a psychotherapist. And so brought up in a very holistic household. And so I understood at a very young age the importance of clean, natural living, clean food, connecting, exercise, things like that. And then I studied nutrition and health coaching, as you mentioned, and I started coaching people with food, nutrition, and a bit of exercise. People were getting great results. And then I started learning about fasting. And I was like, oh my gosh, you can eat less and you can have better results in your body. I was like, that's amazing. And then it kind of got to a point where that hit a limit. It was food and exercise and fasting only went so far with someone's health. And I started to learn about quantum biology. I started to learn about the frequencies in our environment that could actually impact our health. And it came across when I was studying someone called Dr. Jack Kruse. And so this guy is a quantum biologist, as well as a brain surgeon. And so he was talking about stories of, he was massively overweight, multiple reversible, preventable diseases, but he figured out that the only thing that was, wrong with his diet or with his lifestyle wasn't his diet, but was his circadian biology, which is the biology of our brain waves, our up with the sun, down with the sun, our sleep cycle. And so he started to, because he was up late at night doing all the surgeries on people that would come in with accidents and emergency and 3 a.m. So he started to learn about the impact of light. And so I started to hear his story and doing a lot of research. And, when you look at ancient tribes or tribes on the land, they are so strong. They eat not much food. They eat probably not the best food sometimes. And they are strong. They have no dis-ease. They have none of these preventable diseases. And it's kind of like, what's going on? And so it took me down a rabbit hole, learning about 5G, learning about EMF protection. So I've got, my EMF meter here to show some people how to actually use the EMF meter. that also I've got these blue blocking glasses that block out the blue light. And this light is really bad for our sleep and our sleep cycle. But because we're doing this awesome webinar, I'm happy to turn the lights on for everyone at home. But these are all about prevention. And that's obviously the frequency device Healy is all about helping our cell voltage. It's working on frequency as well. So whether we're connecting back to nature, whether we're, taking our shoes off, going for a simple walk along the grass or along the ocean front, or, getting the red light from the sunrise or the red light from the sunset, it's these different frequencies. Or whether we're on our computer all day and we're under these fake lights and we're connected to a lot of Wi-Fi and wireless and touching technology and electricity, these things actually have a massive, massive impact on our cellular health. And it's the cellular health that really is the beginning of all health outcomes for the body. Whether someone wants better energy, they want better sleep, they want to improve their skin tone, they want to, lose some weight or have better performance in the gym, or have less of the mind chatter and less kind of mental disturbance. These frequencies are overwhelming our system and our body hasn't adapted. I asked one of my mentors, I was like, are we going to adapt? Like, surely the body's amazing. Like, this is the best machine ever. Surely we can figure this out. He goes, yeah, we will adapt, maybe in like 3 to 4 generations. And so I was like, oh, damn. So yeah, there's so much to this, but really it's super, super simple. So really, stripping back all these understandings on health, you can be eating the healthiest food at home, food prepping, but if you're eating under toxic light, the light that we eat our food underneath is more important than the food that we actually eat. And so these were fundamental, mind-blowing concepts that started to question my understanding on health. So I started to implement a few of these strategies, and happy to share them with you guys tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be fantastic because, from what I understand with frequencies, it's not just our physical health that this has the ability to transform. It's our spiritual wellness. It's our relationships. It's our wealth, our situation with our wealth, and all areas of our life. Because I'm actually a light worker and a sound healer myself. So I've been working with frequencies through sound for over 10 years. And so I understand frequencies from that perspective. But what I have learned over the last few months as to other frequencies and the use of frequencies in other areas and in different ways is absolutely phenomenal. I just think that the impossible becomes possible when you start working with frequencies. So where do you see the future of frequencies, and what do you see the possibilities are when we start actually working with frequencies and frequency therapy?
Gosh, you want me to predict the future?
Take a stab.
Oh gosh, what does the crystal ball say, hey?
Well, what are the possibilities? What do you see as the possibilities? Not what's necessarily going to happen, but
I think the best deep dive down the rabbit hole in terms of that question is watching a documentary that I know you've watched, which is Thrive movie, Thrive documentary online. And there was version 1 came out many, many years ago. And I was blown away at some of those concepts. And then they released Thrive 2 recently. I purchased it. It was $25 or something to purchase it. And I only got through halfway. So I haven't watched the whole thing, but my friends have watched it. Some other friends have watched it, and they highly recommend. This is where the world is heading. There's so many frequency machines that are coming out. You got Pete Evans talking about, certain frequency machines. You have CrossFit and Olympic athletes using frequency machines for sports recovery. You have therapists using it for high-end athletes to help them recover quicker from injuries or operations and surgeries. We have, we understand now that the old way of doing medicine or healing the body through, pills, potions, lotions, they only go so far. And so really looking at the box of medicine, if we're wanting to change our health in a different way, we need to start doing things differently. We need to look outside the box, right? And so that's really an exciting place to be, because it's really new. You know, and so in that, it does get a little bit of skepticism, but really when you start delving deep into the results, you start to find that these were hidden machines or devices or certain frequency machines like 100 years ago that were hidden from society because they were so beneficial. You know, Nikola Tesla, he had his own machine. There's all these frequency specialists. There's multiple machines, and they were, from my understanding, suppressed, burnt, destroyed, because it was a threat. Natural alternative remedies were a threat to the system of the American Medical Association, and people were sued and killed, and things like that. So it's obviously a big discussion. I'm not here to blame anybody, but I think the world is now ready. I think the world is waking up, and now it can't stop. With you guys listening to this on social media, where I'm connecting here, you're connecting there, this knowledge is not stopping. For some of the people that see where the world is going, we understand that as the world is going into a global lockdown, we're able to now unlock with that key, unlock people's potential through understanding that their energy is everything, and everything is energy. And if you had a device that actually tapped into those frequencies, which is what our body has done anyway, we start to open up a whole bunch of possibilities on what is real. How does the body actually work? And it's not just a cause and effect. You don't just do one push up and your body does this. Or you don't just eat this meal and this happens. There's so much to it. We are a synergy of multiple body systems working together. And it's these subtle frequencies in our environment, or these machines now that are coming out. If we're choosing to live in these man-made cities, we're under more stress and overwhelm and interference than ever before. No wonder, we talk about having a mental illness. It's more like a frequency illness. Our body is under a frequency attack, and we don't even know it. We've got these phones in our pockets, so we're putting them in our tops, and we're sleeping with these phones next to our head, or having these fake lights underneath us, and we're bombarded with them. So the quickest solution is really being aware of what's going on. Doing your own research. Don't believe anything I say. Put your BS bullshit meter as high as you can, and go do some research. And really, when I started to do some research and took the power back for myself, I read a book by Donna Fisher called Light That Heals. And it was fascinating. All these amazing frequency machines and how the body works and heals through light. And so whether that's sunrises and sunsets and connecting to the earth, and there's other frequencies like good quality water and good oxygen, things like that, with simple basic things that our body. I recently just did a 13-day water fast, and I felt the best ever. I was so strong.
That blew my mind. How the hell you and Brandon did that? I can't do without food for 2 hours. How the hell you guys did it for 13 days? I have no idea.
So many components. Yeah, look, obviously frequency therapy was a big support. We had, some supplements to support our system in helping detox. We had been on a health journey for quite some time. So it was the next kind of logical step with the foundations that we had built. But yeah, the future is that I believe everyone's going to have a frequency device, just like they have a smartphone. What I say about the smartphone is, if we're not using the smartphone to learn, grow, impact, help the world, or even self-heal, then this is a dumb phone. What's the point? And so now we can actually use the thing that disconnects us to now reconnect us. And that's where Healy is so amazing, because it allows us to have emotional insight into what's going on in our 7 body chakras, or 7 major glands, and emotionally pinpoint things that around father issues, dad issues, mother issues, relationships, sexuality, pinpointing out of 120 programs what's most out of balance in the body, picking up anxiety, help me dramatically with anxiety and stress, that then help my sleep, that then help my hormones, that then help me emotionally be more balanced through this fast. It's so, helping me with pain that's been in my body for 10 years, 80% of the tension in my jaw's gone. So we should have, what annoys me the most is that we should have known about this many years ago. The world, like, if there's one thing that just makes me like so angry, it's that there's so much knowledge out there that is not shared. It's hidden, it's suppressed, because there are organizations out there that profit from us being sick. And so we're really banding together right now. If you don't want to align with a future or a future self that, that, you know, is playing how, like, I always ask myself this question: is this habit building my future self, or is it building and going back into my old past self? And is this decision actually supportive of what I'm wanting to create? And obviously getting clear on my vision and mission has been a massive part in this health journey. It's step number one. You know, they say that without a vision, people perish. And so it's important that we all have a vision, and sometimes our vision is the television. You know, that's why they called it a television. So they're trying to tell us a vision. And so what if we started to re-sculpt, redesign, upgrade our own vision of how we want our mind, body, spirit, relationships, work, contribution to be? And I found as I started to increase the tactile experience of my vision, it got exciting for me. In the beginning, it was kind of like, oh gosh, that sounds too good to be true. Tall poppy syndrome. I was cutting myself down. Oh no, I can't do that. But then as I started to build my vision and kind of just speak it into existence and like brainwash myself that this was actually a right thing, that I could have a 10 out of 10 health. I could have a 10 out of 10 relationship. I could have a 10 out of 10 business and spiritual connection, all these different areas of values. As I started to believe that, I started to take action based on my vision. And so really aligning, and that's where a lot of people who are getting into frequency therapy, I believe they have been through such an incredible journey. They've tried everything and they've gone, oh, nothing that works, and, you know, reconnecting with themselves, and then also realizing there's a machine that works in our electrical circuitry. Like, our body is an electromagnetic being. We have magnetism in our body. Our heart waves can be measured meters out from us. And we have these electrical signals within the body, all these frequency reactions. Is like the synapse of our brain is the electrical. Everything is an electrical reaction and impulse. And so imagine you had something that could actually tap into that electrical charge to kind of like with your laptop. You know, if I don't charge my laptop right now, I'm not getting a laptop. Like, it's not working. If I don't charge my phone, I got to charge that at least a couple of times a day now, you know? And so it's like putting fuel in your car. And so food only goes so far, because food is kind of like the fuel that you're putting in. You can change the food. That's easy to change. But what you can't change in the car very well, it's quite expensive, is changing the motor, the engine. And the engine is the cellular voltage within your body. And that's charged up, that's been there from your genes. So that we've gotten from mum and our dad, but also from epigenetics. So recently been learning about epigenetics and studying a practitioner course, but actually looking at how the environment, things inside and around and on the cells, impact the gene expression. So you could have two twins, exactly the same genes, but because of their epigenetic predispositions, one twin born at the exact same time could be mega fat, you know, overweight, diabetes, and one can be really skinny and really healthy. It depends on certain types of how these genes express. But really, when we look at the engine of a car, you know, we're all driving this incredible fast, like the best car you can think of, that's your body. Yet we're putting in usually bad fuel, right? But what's more important is we're not realizing that under the hood is actually this cellular health that we're not looking after. And the way to charge up the engine, so to speak, is through light, water, and through connecting to the earth, and also through food. We get our energy by three ways. Our mitochondria, which is the energy packs of our body, like you can think of it as the engine of your car, is charged up by these frequencies from the sun. And that's 1/3 of our electrons. Another third of the electrons come from grounding to the earth, this free energy just from taking your shoes off, going for a walk, laying on the grass. And the third of the electrons comes from food, right? We still get food, right? You know, energy from food. It's still really important. But 2/3 of the electrons, 2/3 of nutrition for our mitochondria come from invisible free resources. The sun, which we've been conditioned to believe the sun is going to cause the big C word. And it's
Mm-hmm.
going to cause, you know, if that was the case, wouldn't trees have cancer? Wouldn't pets have cancer? I don't know. And so these big companies that profit from sunscreen obviously are inundating, just like toothpaste and fluoride, inundating us with, you know, advertisements to convince us that the sun is bad. But really, I've been having more sun the last year since I've been learning about this. But it's important the right time you get your sun. And I've had less cravings, more energy, better sleep, more just like emotional stability as a result of getting more sunlight. I went from going indoors 80% to now outdoors 80%. And it's changed everything. I eat less. I have more, you know, hydration. Our body produces its own water through the sun. You know, we just
Wow,
not
I didn't know that.
if we exposed ourselves to this fake light, it's not allowing our bodies to be fully hydrated. And what happens to a body that's dehydrated is it's not able to flush out its own toxins. It's going to have toxicity, you know, let alone from the environment, from the food or toxic thoughts, you know, the body's going to be more stagnant. And so people who are indoors in offices, most of the time they've got shoes on, they're not connecting to the earth, they're living in high rises, not connected to the earth, being out around all these fake frequencies. No wonder we want to get these electrons. We're not getting the electrons from the earth. We're not getting these electrons from the sun. Where do we get these electrons? The body never lies. And so the body is going, I need these electrons. I'm going to overcompensate. I'm going to start eating all the food that I can see. The seafood diet, right? And everything you eat is, oh my God, it's so amazing. The smells. And so on the 13-day water fast, I broke that like primal conditioning to the best of my ability. It didn't go away completely, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm always eating. My body is using energy from the sun, from the earth, from the frequencies, from my breath, you know, from the small supplements that I was eating. It's becoming so efficient at utilizing these other things for fuel. Mm-hmm. And that's what we have capability of. And that's really the future, is that less is more. And it's about the quickest way to raise consciousness, in my opinion, is to cut the ties of all the things that keep us into the identity of who we think we are, because we are so much greater than what we think we are.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's fascinating because I didn't know most of the stuff that you just talked about. God, we could be here for hours if I were to unpack any half of what you just said. But fascinating that when you're saying less is more, and that when you're actually using the natural resources that our body is supposed to utilize and the way we were built, then we wouldn't need, you know, we wouldn't, feeding 7 billion people would be a piece of cake, because we wouldn't need all the massive manufacturing and animal production and farming that we have right now. It would 2/3 of it would be unnecessary. That's fascinating. Yeah. Wow.
You know, all those documentaries talking about, all the underutilized or over exploited, you know, food industry and mining industry and agriculture and rubbish, you know, there's so many problems would be solved. But that's why the world's going through a transition right now. There's a massive awakening.
And I love that you said that, because there is a massive transition happening right now, and that's what the Liberating Humanity group is all about. And I just want to speak to that because the Thrive 2 movie that you mentioned, I just watched it on the weekend, and that I can understand why you're going to go halfway through it, because the first half is like, it's pretty dense. And you've got a brain that kind of that obviously processes that information pretty easily. But I'm going to have to go back and watch it again, because that information was so incredible about frequencies, and the fact that frequency is the key to everything, and that where we're headed as far as rediscovering these frequency therapies, and the fact that you mentioned that in the early 1900s, things like homeopathic medicines and naturopathy and frequency devices were actually becoming quite normalized, and they were discovering these things. And then, of course, you know, the traditional medicine came in and made all of that illegal, so they could move to chemical medicine. and build hugely profitable. I'm not politically correct about that. I talk about that all the time. So they could have hugely profitable, you know, eventually trillion dollar industries based on our lack of wellness. But, you know, Royal Raymond Rife, who was doing all the frequencies back in the early 1900s, and he got completely discredited and his research got destroyed. But I think it was an Australian, Harry von Gelder, who actually uncovered one of these frequency machines and then started to play with it. And then I just started reading a book called The Resonance Effect by Carolyn McMakin. And that has also re-energized my enthusiasm for this burgeoning new, even though it's been around for over 100 years, as you said, it's been suppressed. But it's got me so much more excited because to hear the research that she's done and to talk about the impact that when she found the right frequency for the imbalance in somebody who has been suffering literally intolerable pain for years, and she was able to have the most, and we obviously have to be careful about how much we say, but the most profound impact on people who have been in acute chronic levels of pain for years and nobody could help them. And she's kind of been working with these frequencies to find these solutions. That is just so exciting. People don't have to suffer and stay in pain when we start to really explore and understand the power that we have in frequencies.
That's it. Like if people are like, oh, I don't believe this, what's going on? Like our body, like, you know, just how you feel after you have a hug with someone, right? Like there's nothing that explained, you can't see it, you can feel the warmth. Like that's energy, that's frequency. You know, these electrons, we're actually getting them from people. That's why we like human touch, human connection. Babies die without being touched, you know, for a certain period of time. So this connection that we have, and it's nature that does it. Humans, animals, think of how you love to pat your favorite animal, or you got to go to the zoo, and, you know, it's that connection that we have. And so it's just reminding us that we have so much at our fingertips, you know, and we don't need to really worry as much, you know, really stripping back those things that have been holding us back, you know, questioning, do I need to exercise that much? Do I need to do all that lifting? You know, all that food that I'm eating, is that really, you know, the best food for my body? Or, you know, that type of work structure, is this routine really helping me? Like, what am I really chasing right now? You know, what am I? And so it's just, I think it's a questioning mind is really healthy.
Oh, most definitely. And it's finding, I think, your own truth within everything that's out there, because there's so much information out there. We're in a time of information overwhelm. And to really find what resonates with you, which is a perfect term for what we're doing right now. And I was thinking this afternoon in terms of resonance with, so, you know, when you find somebody who you ends up being a soulmate, there's a resonance with that person when you meet that person and when you develop a relationship with that person. And you can feel when a relationship is out of resonance. And I find because I talk a lot with my community about wealth creation strategies, and it's finding that wealth creation strategy that is in resonance with you. And it's being in resonance and in harmony and in balance with your environment. And as you can see with, you know, what I have around me in my environment, these are the things that they are in resonance with me, and I make sure that my environment is filled up with things that are high vibe and speak to my values. And when we stack our environment with things that we are in resonance with, it's almost impossible to feel anything other than in a high vibe state.
Absolutely. Yeah. Who'd
Yeah.
have thought?
So, yeah,
Who'd have
I
thought?
know. So simple,
But
huh?
it's every part of the body is impacted by frequencies, whether it's a sound from music, when you listen to your favorite song, or live music, how that feels, or you listen to a singer, or you have an opera singer singing a certain note, and that note ends up shattering glass. It's when frequencies match together, it matches. And so this certain resonance, this frequency has that ability to match the frequency of the glass, and it smashes. And so that's what some frequency machines have access to, is actually that matching the frequency of so-called viruses and bacteria and whatnot, and matching those frequencies, it actually kills the cell, kills it. And so this is really fundamental. You look at Bjorn Nordenstrom. He was kicked off the American Medical Association for using frequency therapy within reversing or healing people that shouldn't have been healed. It was like, you're too good, that's so amazing, bye-bye. Or, Robert O'Becker has a book called Body Electric, and he was studying salamander lizards. And salamander lizards, I don't know if you know this, but you cut the leg off, it grows back. But a frog, you cut its leg off, it doesn't grow back. Poor frog. And so what's the difference? And so they pinpointed the electrical charge that the salamander created. And they said, okay, if we have this electrical charge, what if we put that electrical charge on the frog whose leg was cut off? And guess what happened to the frog's leg? It started to grow back. Not perfect, but just enough it was noticeable, dramatically noticeable. And so that's where I was like, wow, they even connected certain microcurrent to plants, and plants will grow 3 times faster. And so what if we attach it to humans? Certain microcurrents produce ATP. This is the energy, this energy throughout the cellular energy in the body. And so if you can rev up your own ability to self-heal through this microcurrent, we don't need those pills and potions and lotions as much, or maybe ever. I don't know. It depends on someone's situation. So it's really exciting looking at the future. But yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. A lot of education. The school system, you've got kids sitting in a classroom with Wi-Fi every day. They're on their computers, they're touching your laptop, even especially when it's plugged in. This is a good little segue, is the EMF meter. I highly recommend everyone buys one of these just for their own understanding. This red light is over the World Health Organization's healthy level of radiation. The red is not healthy. And if you get further back, see how it's going? That's red, not red, it's yellow. And so there's so many EMFs in here that it doesn't even go green. But that's where our phone, if you put it on flight mode, it will reduce the red. If you're listening to music, this is why even in the manual of your smartphones, it says, don't put it next to your head. Don't put it next to your ear in the manual, because they have studies that the proximity can cause, horrible things. So it's about the distance. And this is where people that live near electrical towers or electrical lines or radio towers or 5G towers now are finding some people can withstand it, but some people can't. And so why risk it? And so, yeah, getting one of these meters has been great, not just for the radiation from the 3 and 4G. And you think about when you go to the cafe now, when I go to the mall, it says free Wi-Fi. It's free. It must be good. It's cheap. It's free. Think of it as free radiation. Yay, free radiation. Let's go to the cafe, have a beautiful breakfast with our loved ones and just get zapped. So there's an awesome documentary called Generation Zapped. And it talks about this. Even 1G, when 1G came out, the first telecommunication phone, there were studies that even 1G was causing irritation for humans' health. But the telcos had so much money and power, they just advertised and went over. And then obviously the government have tie-ins with these telcos and whatnot. So of course it's going to get suppressed. But if you look close enough, the truth is out there. And so anyway, the low frequency magnetic, these are like your microwave or some electrical lines, things like that. That's green right now. So that's good. But if you go low frequency electric on the side is electricity. And so if I get really close, if I get really close here, too close, it will, and if I get further away, it's less electricity. So my laptop, solution is going back to wired internet, not wireless. We want more wires. I know it's annoying. It doesn't look as sexy, but going to wired Ethernet from the wall or the router. Don't do wireless, do corded. It's going to be quicker, faster internet, plus you're going to have no radiation. And then you can do the same thing with your phone. You can go corded into the internet, and you get little adapters as well. And so this is really interesting. My room, where my head was, the side of the wall, there was electrical lines behind it. I had no idea. So it was going off the Richter scale. And so I wondered why I wasn't sleeping very well. So I moved my bed. I'd literally just put my feet at the other end of the bed and just switched, and I started sleeping better. And so it's just, something to consider. Thinking that you train harder or eat hard, eat better, is going to be the solution. And it's not, there's so many things at play. Gosh, we could be here for ages talking about it.
We could. And I think that's the thing, that there's such a debate going on right now, because we are literally bathed in radiation. I mean, I'm very, very fortunate because I live out in my little country bubble. So I live in the Mary Valley, and being a highly sensitive empath, I just had to get away from just the crazy world of, being close to towns and cities and stuff. And the older I get, the further I move out. So, and I don't like going anywhere. I just love staying in my little country bubble. But, most people don't have that luxury to be able to make those choices. I'm really fortunate because I've been working online for over 10 years now, so I can kind of go wherever. And it's, getting unplugged, and it's being able to protect ourselves and our bodies and our cells from those highly toxic EMFs, and being able to reverse those effects. And, we're only just really starting to understand the level of toxicity and the damage that some of those toxic frequencies and radiation are doing to us. But also, what I find so exciting is that what we're talking about is literally just the tip of the iceberg. And I mean, this isn't supposed to be, this discussion is not supposed to be an advertisement for the little devices that we're wearing, which are called Healy. But why I'm so excited is to see these frequencies and this frequency therapy go from large devices, which have been around for some time, into tiny little personal devices that have only been around a couple of years. Where on earth is this going, and what is possible? I mean, we don't even know what's possible at this point.
Yeah. And the solutions, they're it's, yes, one solution is going to live out in Australia, we call it the bush, living out on the land, naturally disconnected from the cities. But if we are, and that's one of the healthiest things we can do, they look at certain studies now with certain, I guess, cancer bubbles, or different areas with higher levels of disease, and they look at the amount of radio towers and 5G and all these radiation and things like that, and there's higher spikes in these areas. So it's something to consider. But if you are choosing to live in the city, because it's obviously work and family and things like that, it's about looking at certain solutions, and whether it's a wearable or whether it's knowing that seaweed, eating more seaweed is actually great for getting radiation out of the body. So integrating more seaweed miso, the macrobiotic diet I'm a big fan of throughout certain parts of the year, that miso, or this seaweed and different nori and dulse, things like that, high in this iodine, but also high in a chelator, which is going to hold on to these toxins and pull it out of you. And so now more than ever, we're looking at fasting, yes, getting back in touch with nature, but fasting, good quality water, taking the fluoride out, taking the chlorine out, minimum, and then restructuring it through a machine or through certain devices that you can get it. That there's, it's just worth it. Our body is made up of water. And then, looking at blocking out this blue light. It's easy. on my computer right now, I have a software called Iris Tech, iristech.com. It's like 50 Australian dollars, and you load it onto your software on your computer, and it takes out all the blue light. And so our being, human nature, we're designed to be awake when it's sunny, and sleepy and tired and sleeping when it's dark. But if we start implementing light when it's dark and darkness when it's light, our brain chemistry, our hormones are so confused. And so this is where we're living in the world where right now it's 7:47 p.m., but I've got these lights on like it's 12 o'clock. This mimics 12 o'clock sunlight. So my body, it's now going to take me longer to get to sleep. I'm probably going to be more wired. I'm probably going to be like, oh, let's go watch a movie, or let's go eat some more food. My body's going to want to be stimulated because it's 12 o'clock. If I put myself in a dark room and a nice salt lamp and some candles or a fire, if you go camping, I go to sleep so much earlier. And that's because it takes 2 to 3 hours of darkness for your body to feel safe to start releasing this melatonin. And the melatonin is what gives us drowsy and like, oh my God, I'm so tired. That head nod, that's the melatonin. And so if you're putting these fake lights on, you're going to be up, you're going to be awake. This is why in casinos, they put all the lights at the top of this, top of the ceiling. So all these lights are coming down. It's really bright. It looks like the same time 24/7. There's no clocks on the wall. You've got aircon, so it's cold, it's stimulated. The aircon, the quality of oxygen's high, so you've got more energy. So, looking at our environment, or you go to a restaurant and it's hot outside here in the Gold Coast, but you go into the restaurant, it's cold, it's aircon. So of course you're gonna want to eat more foods that are more pasta based or like more heavy foods because it's cold. Because we eat based on the temperature. Different seasons of the year mean that certain foods germinate and sprout and grow. And so it's really important to eat seasonally, eat locally, because these local farms, not just to support the local farms, because they're under a lot of pressure anyway. It's so good to support these local farmers markets and whatnot. But it's the microorganisms, literally the bugs that are on these organic plants or biodynamic plants or whatever you're eating, those, like even the soil, eating that has these microorganisms that actually build the bacteria in our stomach. And even looking at sunlight, getting it on your stomach, you're looking back in the day, or even, Aboriginal tribes and things like that, they didn't have clothes. They had maybe a little thing around their waist. They're grounded. They maybe got some sandals on, but they're fully grounded, no rubber soles. And so they've got this light coming into their body all the time. And actually they've done studies now to boost the good bacteria that we would get through fermented foods, which is still great, through probiotic foods like fiber, things like that are really good for stimulating this bacteria in the stomach. But they also found that sunlight boosts the good bacteria, and kills the bad bacteria. And so, looking at eating seasonally, eating with this, eating because it's just tapping into the frequencies of the land. The more that we get disconnected from the land, the unhealthier we get. The more that we get connected, eating with the seasons, eating with the environment, the healthier we can get. And, I know some people, they want to be gods. They want to be robots. We want to live to 1,000 years old, and we're probably going to live longer than ever. But it's like, at what cost are we looking, future wise on where's that taking humanity? Will robots take over?
Some of that stuff's really scary. Let's not start the transhumanism discussion. Oh my God, we will be here all night.
That's a massive wormhole, that one. But yeah, it's just a reminder. If anything, it's choosing 1 or 2 habits every week and saying, okay, what are some habits that I'm utilizing, integrating right now? My food, some habits. Oh, maybe I'm putting the lights on too much. Maybe I'll change that. Maybe I'll buy some blue blockers, or maybe I'll finally get that water filter. And it's changing these habits one by one over the next 12 months. If you could just get, I guess, healthier or better, 3% every day. It's bite-sized chunks, starting your day better, making your bed, writing your goals, building on momentum, building on this, finding an accountability buddy, studying something online. We can learn anything online these days, learning about frequency therapy, downloading Caroline McMacken's book, the frequency, what's it called?
The Resonance Effect. Yeah, that's her latest book. Yeah.
booking in with yourself to try the Healy, because you can do remote sessions now. So anyone globally can actually get a session with this. 50% of it is through bioresonance, or, this frequency information field. And the other part of it is through microcurrent. But yeah, looking at these habits, teaming up, joining groups, learning about this, and it's going to be the new norm. It 100% is. And we are the early adopters of this, I guess, knowledge and insight. And we now don't just have an opportunity where we can, help people, business wise, and actually add this into our business, or using this to create a secondary source of income or third, stream of income. Now we're looking for other streams of income, because it's one source of income is not doing the job. But we can also look at now I see it as actually a responsibility, is that a brain that learns something, you can't go back. It's like you can't unlearn something, right? And so we can't procrastinate or hide the truth. And so now it's a responsibility to wake people up, taking people, as you said, out of suffering and into possibility and into performance, at their highest potential. So that's why I'm here. This is why we're here. This is why, we choose to do these little videos, at the crazy hours of the night, because, this knowledge should be in the minds and hearts of more people.
Oh, without a doubt. And that's where I love that word, that sense of responsibility, because that is exactly the way I feel about how can I know this and not share it when it has the potential to transform people's lives on the most incredible level in all areas of the life, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, financially, physically. Every area of our life can be impacted by frequency. And it's actually not as woo-woo as most people, as a lot of people would think, because we've been talking about the law of attraction now ever since The Secret came out, like over 10 years ago, 12, 13 years ago. And that is about resonance. It's about frequency. It's about vibration. The higher your vibration, like attracts like. It's attracting to us what the frequency that we're emanating. And if we're in low vibration states, we're going to be attracting low vibration people into our lives, experiences into our lives. Our frequency is low physically, then we're going to be having distress and dis-ease in the body. And we've known that for some time. This has just taken the possibilities of how to bring balance back to a whole new level.
It has. Yeah.
So yeah, super, super exciting.
The dots are being connected. That's it.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening to this, you're out there, you're like, hey, like, what are these guys talking about? I want to learn more. Like, just reach out, connect, reach out. We can connect you in some of the resources and the webinars and the people that we're associated with. It's exciting.
Oh, it's so exciting. And I just light up when I have these conversations, because for the longest time, Zach, I have been so committed to finding solutions for people. And I've been an EFT practitioner for, about 12 years now. And as I said, my sound therapy, I speak light language and sing light language. And so I've been about frequencies for a while, but to be able to see people have the ability to have this technology right at their fingertips is absolutely incredible. And the fact that it's now, being released, and after over 100 years, we're seeing this come out in the world. It's like, oh my God, what an amazing time to be alive.
Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So any final wisdom that you would like to leave us with? Because there's just so much that you have already imparted for people, and so much that they can go and dive into and do the deep dive.
Oh, well, look, there's a great app called DMinder, and it allows you to pinpoint where you live. It will tell you the latitude of the sun and how much of the percentage of your body is exposed to the sun, so that you can then get the adequate amounts of vitamin D. And so vitamin D, whether it's supplements, that can be great, especially towards certain times of the year. If you don't have the sunlight, vitamin D is a great supplement to have. And in certain parts of the world, you can't get the vitamin D from the sun because it's just not at the right stage. There's too many clouds or whatever it is. And using this app is allowing you to, if you are in parts of the world that does have more of the sun exposure, even with the clouds are there, we're still getting 30% of the good stuff from the sun anyway, right? So, but really using the app, you know, tweaking your lifestyle. If there's one thing I can challenge you all to do, it's for the next 30 days, go and watch the sunrise. Just from that 1 or 2 minutes before the sunrise to it rises for 10, 15 minutes, and then get on with your day. Integrating that into your lifestyle, or if you're not a morning person, at least the sunset, looking as the sun goes down over the mountains or wherever you live, and getting that red light. That red light goes into the eyes, it goes into the skin. It's very good. It's amazing at building collagen, so it's very anti-aging. It's like it's building fiber in the body and elastin and the cartilage, things like that. It can regenerate the body through this red light. This is why you can actually buy red light panels that actually kind of send this frequency back into the body. But it also creates nutrition in the eyes. And so, looking at these frequencies, getting back in touch with the sunrise is one thing you could do. Then taking your shoes off, getting back and connected with the earth just for like 5 minutes a day. Build up to half an hour a day, build up to an hour a day, have your lunch break outside. Just when you're on your phone at home, go outside and just stand in the grass or whatever it is. Just go out of your way to get connected. Really get a water filter, start cleansing out your body. Look at eating seasonally, certain foods that help with, seaweed, we mentioned, things like that. And really, get back into the kitchen. Stop eating out. It's so expensive, and you can eat much more nourishing food at home. And bringing back that kind of concept of family in with what you're doing, because the world with technology is getting so disconnected. It's like coming back to the basics, and that human connection is really what we're lacking right now.
Totally.
But that's about it. Thank you guys so much for your time. I'm glad hopefully you got at least one thing out of tonight. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, Zach. It's been an honor and a pleasure. And yes, if anybody wants more information or anything, reach out to Zach Dean, or you can also reach out to myself if you have been intrigued by anything. Thank you so much for your time, Zach. And I will see everybody else on another interview within the Liberating Humanity group in the near future. Bye, everyone.
See ya.